Here it is. What do you know?
Get your ass to Mars.
Mission.
Wait.
15, 14, 13.
All systems are go.
11, 10.
I am Dodgy. Gotta have time to masturbate.
Well, I think it kind of speaks for itself. He just goes completely anti-science. I pay money for naughty favors.
Where's that mushroom toy?
You're a cunt now. You've always been a cunt.
I guess he's not
I
being
found
charged for hollering at them about masturbation.
I found the
From-
mushroom
The only thing
toy.
that's going to change
You
is
are
you're going
my
to become an
hero.
even bigger cunt.
When I have ideas, I just write them down.
And it's a sick world that we live in, where Disney cartoons like Monsters, Inc. make a movie star out of a talking green.
Testicle. Mesticle.
Can't be bargained with. It can't be reasoned with.
That's the talking
It
green
doesn't
testicle.
feel pity or remorse or fear. And it absolutely will not stop. Ever. Until you are dead.
Hey, everybody, welcome to Nothing Yet Live. I'm the J. Tyler.
I am your Miss Parker.
And when it comes to Alec Baldwin,
More guns. More guns. Raining guns. It's guns.
Gun
He's
Storm,
actually very pro gun regulation.
I believe it. I mean,
But everybody's talking about Alec Baldwin with the gun right now. So we're going to talk about it a bit.
crew members yelled out "cold gun" as he was handed
A hot gun.
as he handed Alec
Baldwin.
Baumgartner. Now, this is a cold gun. We talked about this on Friday.
You can see that it's a cold gun. You look straight through it. There ain't nothing in there. So it is a cold.
Look down the magazine. There you go.
Ain't nothing in there. Nope.
Nothing in
See?
the barrel. No barrel obstructions. All right, cool. We got that. Clear.
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 Cold gun.
All right. Now, safety on. See?
You haven't taught me that.
Push up.
I think your gun needs to be oiled. Did you push something and then put the safety up? What did you do?
See that little red dot?
Uh-huh.
That means that gun might quite possibly be dangerous.
Okay.
If you lock it back like that, you can't use the safety. But then you make sure, hey, I'm not Alec Baldwin. This gun's not loaded. Okay. You take that. Now, this loaded? Not loaded. Right?
No.
There's no bullets in it, right? Like a good way to know if
It's like a Pez dispenser, right?
more or less, a good way to know if it's not loaded is you look at it. And you look at that. Pretty obvious.
That
there's a
doesn't look
bullet
like
in it.
bullets. That's just like a little Pez
Bright
dispenser
orange.
thing.
Now, if you put this in here and you close it, and you turn the safety on, now that's a pretty cold gun. Like, you've inspected it, you know there's no bullets in it. I know there's no bullets in it. But now I've got the safety on, there's a magazine in it. Right. Now I'm going to hand this gun to you. And I'm going to say, cold gun. Now, what are you going to do?
I see that the safety's on. I see that there's a magazine.
So what do you do?
Well, what's my goal? I have a cold gun here. I'm not.
You don't know that.
Okay.
So what's the first thing? Where do the bullets come from?
The magazine.
So you
Pop out the magazine.
right
How do you do that?
pull. Okay.
Nothing
Looks
in
empty.
there.
Set that aside.
Now we got a truly cold gun.
Not really, because there could be one in the chamber, and you're pointing
there's
it right
one in
at
the
me.
chamber. Okay.
Just assume. Now you're pointing it right at me. Always point it down. Look at me. Point it down. Look at me. Over here. We're over here where the gun is being trained. Okay. Now, you can't rack it. The safety's on, correct?
Right. So you have to turn the safety.
Try to pull it. Try to load it. Just say if. Okay. Now, take the safety off. Okay, wait. Now you put your thumb here, and you're going to push up while you pull back. Go. That's it. Now you look.
There ain't nothing in there. Nope.
Nothing in there. No obstructions. Cool.
That is a ice cold gun.
Now I take the magazine. I load it as an armor with blanks, making sure there's no obstructions again.
Now, how do you know it's a blank?
A blank will be, it'll look like a bullet, but without a bullet in it. It will be crimped. And now that is kind of one of the speculations, is that blanks have been known to, we talked about this on Friday, blanks have been known to blow the end off the blank because it's crimped and it's got a wad in there to cause that effect.
Yeah, you want the pop.
Right. But that's kind of weak brass.
Mm-hmm.
And so there is a chance that, a bunch of weak brass could blow the end of the, and it would be not much different than a projectile. It would be less dangerous than, say, a 110 grain, 100 cal bullet, right? But it would still be coming out of their force and at close range. So once you got your blanks checked, once you got the weapon checked, I, as the armor, load it.
So it sounds
and
like.
And then I hand it to you.
The armor.
I change it. I put the safety on. And then I hand it to you. Now, you don't put your finger anywhere near the trigger.
Right.
Until you're ready to shoot it. Ideally, you would like it in a holster.
Right.
Or you would like somebody who is a professional firearms expert to hand it to you minutes before the scene.
See, that's not what happened.
Right. So it would be like right before the scene, I would go.
So
I would go like this, like this, like this.
So you, as the
like
actor,
this.
would do this.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Because it sounds like
and then I put the safety
they don't
back
have
on.
rules about actors being trained in.
And then I would holster the weapon. I assume the actor has a holster. I mean, where's the gun going to come from? Did he just keep it in his pants and shit like that? Hey, Alec Baldwin, lucky you didn't blow your balls off. Honestly. But gun safety 101. Magazine out. Safety off. Locked out. This is a safe firearm. So, Alec Baldwin, you fucked up. Your armor is fucked up. Your crew fucked up. And it cost a person their life.
See, I don't think Alec Baldwin broke any rules. My understanding is that it's not his responsibility to make sure a cold gun is a cold gun.
Well, maybe they need to change their fucking rules.
Well, maybe they will now. But if what happened was the gun was sitting on a cart, there were 3 guns there. An assistant director picked one up, handed it to Alec Baldwin, and said "cold gun." And then they went to rehearsing the scene. And they were using the art director and the director as targets for rehearsal or whatever.
Well, that sounds smart.
Well, I'm paraphrasing here.
Two of the most important fucking people in.
Let's actually get into the story here because. Did you put your headphones on before you?
I did.
Or you put your headphones on after you mounted the stick.
Mean,
okay, so
people act like I'm reckless with firearms, but no.
Okay, so the headline is "Crew member yelled cold gun as he handed Alec Baldwin prop weapon," court document shows, and this is from CNN.
No.
Do you want to be the
Scrolly.
scroller? I'm the scrollee.
Mm.
An assistant director handed Alec Baldwin a prop firearm and yelled "cold gun" before the actor fired the weapon, killing cinematographer. I'm still not sure how you say her name. Helena Hutchins, and injuring director Joel Souza, according to a court document. The cold gun remark was meant to indicate that the weapon did not have live rounds, according to an affidavit for a search warrant for the movie set filed by the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office and obtained by CNN affiliate KOAT. According to the affidavit, Baldwin was handed one of 3 prop guns by assistant director David Halls that were set up in a cart by an armorer for the movie Rust.
Let me try that. Cobra assault cannon, state of the art. Bang bang.
Dude, you just don't. I mean, you're talking about millions of dollars worth of actors, equipment, directors and things like that. You're putting, their life on the line. But again, the question remains to me is, why are there live rounds? Like anywhere near, like why? Like you would never hand somebody a gun that said cold gun. You'd hand them a gun that said inspect.
Or you would say live rounds because there were live rounds in it.
But he
But
didn't
he
know that.
said cold gun. So something happened between the armorer and the assistant director.
I think that he picked up the gun with blanks in it,
And said cold gun, but he didn't maybe
which
understand
meant that it
what
was
that
for
meant.
rehearsal. He just had
Which meant there shouldn't have been live
a
rounds in
cold
it.
gun shouldn't have any rounds in it.
Right. Right.
It's just a paperweight.
So it was not a cold gun.
No, it was loaded. Whether you want to call it a blank or whatever, shit can get obstructed. And again, I've seen blanks fall apart. It's just a thing. I mean, when you handle firearms as much as I have, like you just realize that freaking anything can happen. I've seen guns go off with safety on. That's why, like again, that's why whenever I would never hand I would never hand this to you. You can't see anything. I would never just be like, oh, here's a cold gun.
Yeah, because
It would
there's
the
a
gun
clip
I
in
would
it and you
hand
don't know
you.
what's in the clip.
The gun I would hand you would look like this.
Yeah.
And I would be like, inspect it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Then I would say, look, I'm about to put 5 blanks in here. Right? And put 5 blanks in there. Hand it back to the actor. Make sure there's no obstructions. And then, like one of the greatest firearms actors is Keanu Reeves. Like the guy practices all the time. So the idea that I imagine what he does before any action shot is
He inspects the gun
he
himself.
fucking inspects the gun because the man has a more firearms training than most people do. And that's his job. He's John Wick, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so there, that's it. The cold gun remark was meant to indicate that the weapon did not have a live round, according to an affidavit for a search warrant for the movie set filed by the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Department, obtained by CNN and KOAT. According to the affidavit, Baldwin was handed one of the prop guns by Assistant Director David Halls that were set up in a cart by an armorer for that movie, Rust. It doesn't make a sense.
Halls did not know there were live rounds in the gun, the affidavit said.
Ah, she's cute too.
Yeah, she looks kind of like Winona Ryder.
She does.
But when the actor fired the gun, a live round hit Hutchins 42 in the chest and wounded Souza.
Well, allegedly. They don't know if that actually was like, because again, a powerful enough blank at a close enough range that fails. Anytime you're dealing with explosives, there's a chance it can fail. Ask Dragon Man. his brother, who he trusted implicitly, set up these sort of explosions for the intro to this show that was supposed to happen based on this guy called Dragon Man, who lives outside of Colorado Springs and has one of the coolest shooting ranges ever, right? He trusted his brother to set up the pyro, and the pyro exploded and basically cut his wife in half right in front of them while they were doing the intro shot. So, look, I mean, even he was a fucking professional and he wasn't trying to kill his brother's wife, right? So, like, when you're fucking around with these things, man, be extra careful, especially when you're dealing with Alec Baldwin. You know, maybe he's been playing with guns for so long that he's comfortable with them. One thing you should never get comfortable with: hoes and guns. You never know when they might go off in somebody else's face. So, trying to lighten the mood. Miss Hutchins was pronounced dead at the hospital after being airlifted. The affidavit says a verified GoFundMe fund for Hutchins' family has raised more than $100,000 in less than a day. Hutchins is survived by her husband and 9-year-old son, it says. But we still have no facts. Again, somebody could have like, it would have taken me 1 second to load that round and be like, not my fault. It could have been a failure of a primer and a detonation of shell casing. The shell casing can break apart and fire off too in any round. You know, maybe they were older rounds. Maybe they were leftovers from something else. Maybe they had been misloaded. You know, sometimes, like you can fire 9mm rounds out of a 45 or out of a 40 caliber gun. It does to the shell casing what is called a like a stovepipe. It expand it because it doesn't quite fit right. 40 cal and 9mm are so close together that you can put a 9mm round in a 40 cal, but you can't do the opposite, right? Now, so what if you put the wrong blank, say a 9mm blank, into a 40 caliber pistol? It might fucking explode and rip the front end of the blank off. And I mean, this seems to be the most plausible thing, unless somebody put a real bullet in a real gun in a movie, which makes zero sense to me.
Well, there's a paragraph right here that kind of opens the door. Before Thursday's shooting, some crew members quit the production over concerns related to safety, including gun inspections and COVID-19 protocols not being followed, according to the Los Angeles Times and other media reports. 3 crew members who were on the set last weekend told the Times there were 2 accidental prop gun discharges before Thursday.
Hey, again, these weapons were obviously faulty and not inspected by professionals. Hey, you guys need an armor? Call me. I'll make sure nobody dies on your set. Because I'm pretty anal when it comes to guns. And that doesn't mean I stick them up my butt.
Well, it doesn't not mean that now, does it?
You're right, it doesn't. But yeah, the fact that somebody could just, they're like, cold gun. And Baldwin's like, cool, bang. Shoots at a person. Like, hell, shoot at the ground.
I know that he didn't follow your definition of safety,
Or
of
any
gun
definition
safety,
of safety.
but I feel bad for the guy, and we're going to talk more about.
I feel bad for the 9-year-old little Hutchins boy.
Well, me too, yes, but I feel bad for Alec Baldwin, and that's going to tie into our Dick of the Week nomination.
I feel bad if he was innocent, but if he was negligent, he's been in action movies before.
But there are protocols, and it doesn't say that he violated any protocols. My understanding is when someone hands you a cold gun, an actor.
Don't fucking trust him.
Well, they might change the
If
rules.
you handed me a pistol and was like, "Oh, it's empty," put it into your head and pull the trigger. Fuck no, right? Would absolutely inspect it. I had an issue with this. I had an issue with somebody once where I was like, they wanted to kill themselves, so I handed them a loaded gun. Now I'd taken some precautions, right? I'd locked the gun out, the safety was on, the person didn't know what they were doing. But they were so pissed off and distraught that they're just like, "Oh, you don't believe me? You don't believe me?" And I'm like, here's the gun. Blow your brains out. Right? I know you're not going to do it. I know you're not capable of doing it because I've made the weapon so safe. But the person was like, "It's not loaded. It's not loaded." And I was like, "No, it's on safe. It's locked out. But there is a real bullet in there. And if you would have taken the safety off and pulled the trigger, it killed you." But what it showed me was that you weren't interested in killing yourself at all. And it takes a special kind of person to like take their own life. It takes, and it takes, like, I don't know how Alec Baldwin's going to get over this. Yeah, I feel bad for him if he really does feel bad, you know, like, but the idea that I don't care if the gun's real or fake. I've had many soldiers just be like, they didn't even like fake guns, especially after they came home from war. I have this really cool AR-15 um, airsoft gun, and they just couldn't even look at it.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? I was like, "What? It's just an airsoft gun," but not to them.
No.
It looked like a fucking rifle. They were like, "Is it loaded? Is it?" And I'm like, "Dude, it's a fucking BB gun. It shoots plastic BBs." It's just like, I don't care,
Yeah, your brain makes a generalization about that
all the
thing
time,
once it
every
has
time,
a
man.
powerful
You
association.
drop that mag, you inspect that chamber before you ever fucking pull the trigger. And if you're on a battlefield, I can see you fucking up. But if you're on a movie set and you don't take, like, I don't know, the 13 seconds it would take to make sure that the thing that you're holding that quite possibly could be deadly is just not like loaded, dude. It's irresponsible. And maybe again, I will give Alec Baldwin the benefit of the doubt. The fact that I don't know, he's old. Maybe he's been playing Trump for too long, and he just thinks like he has so much trust because this had never happened before. He had so much trust that it's just like, oh, cold gun, cool. Yeah.
Well, more's going to come out. I can't imagine that he would have just taken a cold gun after there had been 2 accidental discharges earlier, but maybe he didn't know about those. Maybe that came up later. Maybe that was something that happened when he wasn't on set.
I had one accidental discharge one time. There was one time where the gun went off where I did not mean it to go off. But it was pointed at the ground away from everybody. And it was a very nice gun. And I made a mistake. I had my finger in the trigger guard and I took the safety off. And it fired.
Oh, Jesus. That is.
But I had it pointed down and away. Right?
Mhm.
And so nothing happened. Except it scared the shit out of me. Right? Like new shooters, I give them 1 round. Right? And I stand right behind them. And I let them fire 1 round. But like you, like how avid of a shooter are you? How many rounds have you shot in your life?
0?
You haven't fired a gun? Ever?
No, we've had this conversation.
Well, we're gonna go do that. I fired tens of thousands of fucking rounds out of hundreds of different guns, and it's not bragging. It's just that.
Oh, I would have done it if it weren't for COVID. I want my trans kid to know how to use a firearm.
might be necessary coming up in the fucking future.
Yeah, exactly. So,
But-
yeah, I would have done it by now.
So the shit's gonna come out in the end. It's gonna be. I feel that basically all these guys can just sort of go like, I gave the gun to him, and he gave the gun to them, and they said there was 3 guns on the table. I mean, what is this fucking like? What
Russian roulette?
shell game? No,
Yeah,
is this a
yeah.
fucking shell game?
Yeah.
Like, you know how many of those 3 guns should have been loaded? Fucking zero. And that poor woman would be still alive, making shitty movies with Alec Baldwin.
Well, yeah, I'm not going to speculate on what her future would have been. It's
Well,
too sad.
The movie's name is Rust.
And it will never see the light of day.
I'm going to guess that the armorer people in New Mexico,
No, the armor.
you might have been a little rusty.
Ooh.
I'm the J. Tyler.
I am your Miss Parker.
We'll be back in a minute.
With Dick
Talk
of the
about,
Week.
Of course, always talk about Dick of the Week. And maybe we'll get to Trump's truth, which is lies. But as always, the first segment is brought to you by Hope Craft CBDs. Jackson Tyne and Tammy Tyne are out in Delta, Colorado. Hope Ranch, more accurately, constantly working on improving the sustainability of their farms. They care about climate change. They care about the environment. Most of all, they care about you. I can't get on it. You and the lube that you're supposed to get to us, and dog treats, which she loves. She takes them rectally.
Anal treats.
And maybe some gum. Maybe some gum. I'll send you information on some of the gum. Maybe you can figure it out. Jackson, you're a pretty good engineer. You're a very good Dr. Green Thumb. No one grows like Jackson does.
How do I top that?
Hope Ranch.
Hope Craft CBDs are more than 10 years in the making. They make candy, salve, massage oil, and tinctures. And we're rooting for the lube. And of course, the dog treats. I'm having to settle for the anal candy right now as opposed to the dog treats, which I prefer.
Well, I figure Hope Lube sounds great because, if you have lube,
you have hope.
You have hope to use it.
It means you're hopeful. It's an optimistic sign. Visit hopext.com. That's HOPEXT.com and say, we want lube.
Use promo code STFUJ. Veteran owned and family owned for over a decade. In a minute, we're going to come back with Dick of the Week. And you guys know you love our Dick. This is an early Dick of the Week. So it'll probably be pretty weak. I can't wait to see what you brought me.
I think we have a winner already.
Okay.
It's going to be a short week anyway, so.
That's right. We're moving out of here, babies. I don't know what to say. I'm so distracted.
Welcome to Limbo. This is Nothing Yet Live.
Yeah. See you in a bit.